Hey team, welcome along to episode number 8, No Thumbs of the D.M.C podcast with yours truly, Adam Rigby, and the man mountain that is Cody, Hunter, brother. How are you? How was your week?
Mate,
2 questions.
It's been a superb week. I'm good. I'm really starting to be present in your introductions to fire me up, get me in the game, bro. So I'll work on that a bit more. But killer, awesome week. I'm doing a bit of travel this week. I'm up in Auckland, so I'm coming live from a different studio. But as we always said, doesn't matter where we are, it never stands in the way of recording the D.M.C for our wonderful listeners and fans out there. So we just make it work. And mate, it's been awesome, mate. Just lots going on, keeping busy. Lots of good feedback coming from people. Lots of application of the things we talk about in my own life, which is awesome as well. And overall, mate, just loving life. How about yourself, brother?
Going great, mate. Navigating or negotiating the challenges that are everyday life, getting up like everybody else and facing the day with a little bit more of a purpose. A higher purpose and mission driven each and every day, which has been cool. This has been a massive part of it. The daily DMCs have been great. And as we discussed before, I found them challenging, and it wasn't, I think we both may have overthought it. We have to be these massive motivational speakers in those moments, but we're just being human. It's us. We're capturing a part of the day and grabbing what's real and pushing it out to the people. So it's been a cool exercise to go through, and it's a little just, reiteration of the little moments of motivation that we find on the daily, our commitment to our people who are subscribing, and for those who are yet to subscribe, we would really appreciate it if you did hit the button. It doesn't cost anything. It's your way of supporting the channel and its content and helping us sort of future-proof and get some more great content out there, and our way of navigating the wonderful world of strange invitations via Instagram to advertise some weird stuff, which we may or may not go through at some stage, but we appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes.
Not yet sponsored. Not yet sponsored, but who knows? Who knows? Who knows what's in the pipeline? We'll share this with you one day, team.
Yeah. We'll set up a fake account and maybe go that way just in case they scam us out of all our millions that we make on the DMC, mate. You got to be careful, mate.
Millions. And people know we're not in it for the fame, the fortune, the money, the bright lights. We are here focused solely on the content, and it is the doing. It's the doing. It's us showing up. Number 8, mate. 2 months.
Mate, how good's that? And it's going awesome. I was just going to say on the DMC, the daily DMC, that it's a really good lesson for everyone else out there. That, like, for me yesterday, obviously I popped one in there yesterday. I went on a flight yesterday. We had my mother. Like, there's lots going on. We're very busy, and it wasn't until later on that, like, last night, where I was like, holy shit, and I just remembered, right? I was like, I've got to do the daily DMC. And then obviously, if you think about that, though, it could have been a workout, it could be the daily DMC video, it could be anything. It's super easy just to go like, I'll just miss it for today. Like, that's a 1-minute activity for us, which there's no excuse. And it may happen one day, but I wasn't going to let it happen. But it's just super interesting, sort of, when you commit to people, to something larger than yourself, right? There could be someone there expecting that video. Well, obviously you're expecting it, because that's what we expect of each other every day that we do it. But also there could be someone listening, waiting for it, and then all of a sudden you don't show up after saying you're going to. It's not a good look. So there was no way I wasn't going to record anything. I stood up straight away, jumped around 15 times. There was about 3 times that I got content in my head that I thought about recording during the day. But of course, did I take notes like we were supposed to? No. Well, I didn't. No, and I forgot them all again. But what a way to commit. So again, on that one, I just advise you all to do something similar when you need that accountability. You don't need someone to check up on you, but you need to know that if I don't record this, I could be letting someone down. Letting yourself down is massive, but we all know that we're more likely to be afraid to let someone else down than ourselves, which is a weird partnership anyway when you think about it. But thank you for the pressure, and we got it done. But mate, I could have forgotten that one. I could have missed out. I was pretty touch and go.
I would have waited, to be honest, till 11:59, and then yeah, you would have got a phone call because I thought this is going to be awesome. I can't wait. I'm super excited. What I do really like about it is that, you know, the way that we work is completely different in terms of the structure. You provide this wonderful structure, and that's what I gravitate towards, because it's a different level of thinking, and I'm kind of the let the universe decide type person, much to my wife's frustration. And probably a few people around me, but that's me. People accept that. Hey, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But there's that great middle ground. So I'm looking forward to it, because I'm learning a new way of processing stuff. You know, I'm learning some new skills, some realness, some real life, real situations when we're trucking through, overcoming hurdles and obstacles, like you say. But our commitment is to get it done. And we talked about it, you know, even before we did the first daily podcast. It was the D.M.C daily 1 minute was, mate, how good would it be to get to 100?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. And we're almost at 20. We're almost at 20 already, mate.
Almost at 20. We're 2 months deep. Podcast number 8. And yes, as Cody said, for the feedback, to show us that people have been listening and their application means more to us. It really is our commitment just to speak to you. You're part of us. Hopefully we're part of you. It is a group thing. And I know a lot of the motivation around is it's up to you to make the change, and people are focused on you. But what you've got to realize is we are a team. We are 100% committed to helping you. So we're a part of it. You can lean on us, reach out to us. You've got the channels to do that now, but you don't have to feel as though, shit, I have to bear this burden myself and work through it. You don't. That's what we're here for. That's why we're here. We are a team.
Yeah.
And as part of that, I've got some shout outs. I have some shout outs to some of the team members, people that have been chatting. I've had some super cool experiences because of it. There's a couple of books that we're deep in. One's getting super heavy that we're reading, so we can share some of that. The other one is just about positivity and mindset. But couple of shout outs. My good friend Blythe Batman comes out of isolation. He's out of isolation today. Picked up his beautiful wife Brookie and their 2 dogs from Australia, so they are reunited and back in New Zealand. I couldn't be happier to see those guys back in New Zealand. So welcome home, you beautiful people. So great to have reconnected with him and had chats over the last couple of weeks. A great supporter of the channel too. And some deep and meaningful chats, and part of it is what we're going to talk about today. So thanks for the motivation, Blythe. Del Boy from the gym. Del came up to me. He's a supporter of one of my sprint classes, comes along, fires up, great energy, great passion, loves the motivational speech. He's off to Auckland to live, came and connected and said, thank you so much for the experience. And I said, mate, I will catch up with you 100%. Del, I just want to say you are an absolute legend. It has been a pleasure training with you. You are part of the team, part of the D.M.C podcast team. Bro, this is not the end for us. This is just the beginning. The other person, Leonie, has just passed on to the next stage of her instructor journey. And again, she was leaning on some of the motivation, both after the classes that we taught and our D.M.C podcast. So she's been using that, just about that, believing in yourself and chasing your passion. So the next stage of the journey has begun, and I couldn't be prouder of you, my friend. Here's to something truly unique and wonderful and a bright future. Just go for it. Don't let anything stand in your way.
Hell yeah, man. Mate, I had a good one too, actually. I'd like to talk about, but we've discussed this guy quite a lot. He's my man Danny from the gym, and he's been the best feedback
Danny?
ever. Yeah, mate, he's awesome. And he was on the treadmill doing a 30-minute session on Wednesday morning. They were doing 30-minute ESD training. And I had to go and have a quick chat with him while he's in the middle of this run. But mate, awesome feedback. He was saying he really enjoys the depths that we're going to with certain things, from the growth of episode 1, for example, to how he rolled into episode 7, and just the journey of it all. And again, he looks forward to the release every Friday. He puts it on while he's at work, listens hard, and yeah, true fan. It's awesome to hear that feedback and to have access to people around our circle that we can see and get that feedback. I posted
Yeah,
up a few notes last week too, didn't I? There were a few notes that came in, personal messages, people saying, oh, I just got this one listened to, mate, can't wait for the next one. And I mean, it's been really good. And like we said, if one person is loving the podcast, then we're stoked. Well, let's make it one more than the two of us. But anyway, yeah, it's real cool.
That's it. It's putting it out there. A friend of mine actually put it beautifully. This is like a diary. This is a video log of our lives, right? We're opening up quite a bit. We're not. I don't think exposing is the right word. It's nothing too exotic or dramatic, but it's a snapshot in time that we are sharing, and our children know they get this day in, day out. This is us, the parent. But what really made me think is, mate, our grandchildren and their children will be able to look back and see us, in a time where we were truly trying to do something amazing. And we weren't just the grey-haired guy mumbling to himself in the corner watching TV. I don't think that'll be us. I've got this Thelma and Louise driving a sports car off a cliff at 115 years old. I want to ride bikes until my legs fall off. I just want to. My goal is to just keep moving until the day I can't, and accept moving on gracefully and go to the next stage of my life.
Mate, how lucky are we to be able to do this? Because I love what you just said there. Because from our generation, and like we discussed last week, that I lost my father very young. There's some photos around, but there's nothing like this. I walked into the living room the other weekend, and my son had YouTube on, and he was watching our videos. And he goes, oh, and you were talking about this thing, and he watched the podcast. He watched some of my workout stuff from years ago. But I'm like, imagine being able to have access to see someone that's no longer with us that often, like that easily, just to hear their voice. I think there's an audio tape of my dad singing a song for Mother's Day to my mum. And I remember listening to it for the first time as an adult and breaking down, because that voice, I'd never heard that voice for years and years. And I'm just like, whoa. And I couldn't handle it because it was just so close. That's so personal, right? And so, but just these days, we have the ability to leave this legacy out to our kids and our imagine grandkids watching it. I can't even believe it. I didn't even think about that, bro. And that excites me, and that's freaking awesome.
You know what, mate? It'll be you and I. It'll be welcome to the D.M.C podcast number 1480.
It's 481, you silly bugger.
Oh, is it? God damn it. No, listen here, Cody. Don't misbehave.
How's your hip, you old bugger? Is it all right? Mate, I love that. That would be the best. Be the best.
I'm going to be this charging old dude, sort of super high fashion, in the Adidas tracksuit, mate. That'll be
definitely drum and bass, mate.
Geez, if the hips are up to it, or they'll be replaced by then, well and truly. But a big thing that on that train of thought, my grandparents. I met my father came over from England many years ago, and so my grandparents on his side were from the UK. Now I had only met them once, and I was tiny, 2-3 years old. So I don't have any memory of them at all, only photos, sort of maybe glancing memories. They came over on a boat, mate. How's that? And my father was a fashion designer. I was a little bit of a fashion victim. I was, little 3-piece suits and, sick little jackets, as I was. Long blonde hair as a young man sets you up well in your life, I can tell you that. But I don't have a memory of them. On my mother's side, my grandfather and grandmother again passed away when I was young, but I had memories because we would go and stay with them in town. And that's where my Maori heritage comes from. My grandfather, and he was a strong, quiet man, but he had mana and he had strength, and you knew when he looked at you and raised his eyebrow, you paid attention. And my grandmother, English, to me, I remember her, she reminded me of the Queen Mother, but she made an epic fruitcake. and a trifle, a tradition to which those that are close to me know is continued by my mother. Now, the only stellar difference between mum's trifle and nana's trifle is there's a lot of sherry that goes into it.
Yeah.
So what I think initially is, the recipe called for a fair bit of sherry. My suspicions are that half the sherry went in the trifle, maybe half of it went into nana. And so when the recipe got passed on, it was a little strong, the kind of trifle that you don't drive after consuming. But so that's been dosed down. That's been dosed down a little to protect the innocent. But my mother still makes that to this day, and still brings a trifle round, which is something I cherish, and it brings back some wonderful, wonderful fleeting memories. I remember when they both passed away too, and not really being part of it, just having to sit out in the car park while everything was going on inside. So, but so my memory is fleeting, and you think about the things that you learn, the knowledge that you have as you get older, and even the place where we're at now, the knowledge that we have built on the experiences that we have and that we're offering. Does it take 40 years to get to this space? Does it take 50 years to start to think about, mindfulness, to be in a position to accept it? Or can things like this help accelerate the process and make us more mindful earlier, which is why we're reaching out to our younger audience? And imagine how different, if you're 20s, if you're coming up to your 30s, how different will the next 20, 10, 20, 30 years of your life become or be? What will unfold if you can embrace mindfulness earlier, if you can embrace positivity earlier, if you can forget about all of this consumer bullshit that we're submerged in, that we're pelted with day in, day out earlier, if you're all about humanity earlier. Imagine what type of world we will build, because that's what we're doing. We're trying to make the world a far better place, and it starts with us. It's our responsibility.
Mate, big time. I think that point, I was having a good discussion with a good friend of ours last night, and we were talking about even things along those lines. The number one thing I was talking about was slowing down. The beauty of slowing our lives down, or slowing the moment down, because we're so, and I'm quite intense at times, where I like things to be pumping and let's go, 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 go. And that stillness, that mindfulness, that meditation practice, the slowing things down, that's something that if I look back on younger Cody back in the day, I would say many times, sleep on that idea, sleep on it. Don't make a decision now. That would be a big one. Sit back, relax, and let's have some breaths, and let's have a really good, slow think about it, and talk with people about it. Like not everything was so urgent in your life that you need to be bang, 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 bang. It's like slower down. And that's something that I'm still mindful of, and I am practicing a lot more. But I think slowing down for me, I don't need to speed up. I need to slow that stuff down. Not to the point where you're now over analyzing things and nothing is happening, but just slow it down for a second. Hold tight. Let's have a little bit of a feel on this one. And I think as a young person, that can be something very powerful. But I mean, there is lots of things that we could, well, I'm sure we will share along those lines. But yeah, that was just part of the discussion we were talking about even last night.
And I think when you're like us, we're highly motivated, and people out there are listening going, no shit, you guys are highly motivated. And that can be a danger, because we could have a tendency to go after everything. Like you say, we react and we react fast. We have an idea and we flip and go for it, but the danger is it burns out of control. We blow it up because we lack the structure and the discipline to be able to implement it or be successful at it. Because you've got to, motivation is one thing. You've talked about it before on one of the previous podcasts. Motivation may get you to the start line, but there's so much more that we need to do to get us to the finish line. We've got to have that discipline wrapped around it. We've got to have that undeniable work ethic. We've got to be prepared to do the mahi, put the work in, the grind, do the yards, motivation will only get you so far because it'll wave. You're going to have good days and bad days, days when you're motivation. So it's your work ethic that's going to pull you up. And maybe it'll drag a little bit of motivation when you pull yourself into a motivating environment when you are not motivated, but your work ethic has got you there. So motivation is, the motivation is one thing, So for us, it's like, let's go. Whoa! So slowing down, that's awesome. Hey, pump the brakes. That's slow-mo moment where, I as you were indicating before, writing stuff down is cool because it's clarity. We do move 1,000,000 miles an hour, and the world conditions us to move 1,000,000 miles an hour. We've talked about it, how technology is designed to shortcut everything. And I think the issue with, and the people aren't to blame, right? The generation, you guys aren't to blame, but it's the way that things are presented to us. Okay, the speed that things move at now compared to the speed that things used to move at for us at that age is accelerated. The instant gratification means that when we wanted to learn something back in the day, way back when, we had to go through it. We had to experience it. We would have to go to a library if we wanted to read something about it and investigate, or we would have to travel to the other side of the world to see it. And now, what do you have to do? You grab a phone and you go there. You get the information instantaneously, and that changes the way that we respond to doing. And it takes the grind out. It takes the hard work. And I think it changes you mentally too, right? Because everything starts to become easy, and you forget the importance of working for it. And most importantly, you do not build the resilience required to get from point A to point B or further. Because there's no objection, there's no challenge in finding out information or doing stuff. Now you're like, oh shit, I'm going to do that. I want to find out this. Bang. Hey Google, hey Siri.
Straight away.
So there's So what we're saying is, where we are at now, we can guarantee to improve the quality of life and become mindful sooner rather than later is the doing. To absorb yourself, immerse yourself in the experience. It's the conversations, it's the deep and meaningful chats that you've got to have. Okay, have your own opinion, share it with others, listen.
And that's that whole
to listen.
We talked about in episode 1, but that whole showing up, right? So like we talked about the code. Again, showing up, that's fine, great, okay. I mean, again, that's huge. But also, like I said, for some people, showing up to the gym is easy. That's an easy thing to do. But then they get there, and are they doing the work? Well, often it might be questionable. It might be that 3 minutes on the treadie and then a spa or sauna and then going home. So I show up every day. I show up to the gym every day. Okay, cool. Now, next question: are you actually doing the work? Are you doing the work to earn the knowledge, to find the lessons, to all this stuff? And remember, we've said before, only you know if the work is being done or not. It's effort is on you, right? Did you give 100% effort today? Did you do the best that you can do, no matter what's going on? Did you give it 100%? Yes or no? And it's okay to say no. It is okay. But the awareness is key there, isn't it? It's like, no, I didn't. I can do better.
That's awesome. I love that description you had of the guy with the broken finger, right? It's like you sent him the picture of the guy with no arms doing squats. Yes or no? Yes or no? Now, what works well for me? I know that I need a plan. I need that structure, okay? Because I don't need distractions, and that's the problem for me. I can't sit still for long. So if I'm going to confine myself to a space or an environment, I need rapid fire. I need a purpose in there, and I need to get in. And you can see I can't sit still anyway. But we talked about it previously. Again, the structure that I had to have, like moving, knowing when my rest periods are, knowing what my next weight session is, being able to get in, get out, to get it done. Motivation got me there. The dedication, determination, that structure got me through. And then it's what's next, supported by everything else. Supported by everything else, because it's not just one thing in your life. If you are dedicated, you've got to be a beast, eh?
Mate, massive.
You have to be a beast.
Well, so how about the so another thing on that, what we're just discussing is that whole motivation, or even people are all about goal setting, right? And so goal setting, yes, you'll sit down, write your goals out, and you write down a goal. And this is part of the way I've coached for years is, we have the what goals, but then we have the why goals and the purpose. And then obviously there's a whole strategy to it. You create the dream, you audit, you create, you plan, and then you execute. But the issue is with a lot of people is they just build a goal and they say, look, in 2 years' time, I want to be 100 kilos, for example. And then it's like done. They put it on the wall and they read it every day. Great goal, mate. But what's your strategy? Do you have any idea how you're going to get there? What are you going to do on a daily basis to reach that goal? Do you have any testing you're going to do? Do you have any ways to stay on the course or to reshift your boat back straight again? But it's so funny that they think that goal is the thing you need to know. That's motivation. You get motivated, write a goal, then you sit back and you're like, well, it's not working. My goal hasn't been set. I haven't reached my goal. It's because you have no plan.
Yeah.
What's the plan of action? Yeah. What's the attack? So it's easy to get caught up on that motivation and then goal setting, and then not have anything after it.
Yeah, and the why is super critical, because I challenge people to really pull that apart. Why are you doing it? And think about, is it for you? Is it something that you want to do for yourself? Okay. Or is it a combination of someone suggesting you do it? Is it someone pulling you into the environment to do it? Is it something you've seen that think you'll gravitate towards? You try, you're not quite sure. Like we say, there are many ways you can gratify it, but is your focus doing this for yourself? Not to be cool, not to be liked, but in terms of betterment, is it going to be fulfilling for you? What's the end result look like? Because sometimes we waste a lot of time chasing somebody else's dream. That's not what life should be about. The D.M.C Daily was a little bit about that, hey? And people may think that your dream is crazy if they don't understand it. Delusional, I think, was the word that I referred to. And a lot of people do talk to that. It's okay to be delusional, to appear to be a little mad or a little obsessed with a goal, because not everybody's going to get it. It's not, but that's okay. That's not what it's about. It is about you. If it is important 100% to you, this goal, something you've always wanted to do for you, then you fucking go for it. And you do not let anything stand in your way, except there will be good days, there will be bad days, there will be ups, there will be downs, there will be the challenges, days highly motivated, hyped up, days when you're getting the shit kicked out of you, but you front anyway. So if people think you're a little bit crazy, delusional, that's because it's personal, it's you, and not everybody else has to get it. Hey, one thing too, bro. So the swimming, I went for a swim today. Amazing. Knocked it out of the park. My buddy Miles, I reconnected with him recently at a little gathering, a little party of some really cool people that I hadn't seen in a long time. And what really resonated with me is these were people. Why I really liked hanging out with these people is they know how to have fun. And that rang true. This is how I remember them walking into that environment. They still knew how to have fun. They were communicating. They were open. They were themselves. They were talking, laughing, dancing, singing, free to be themselves. And it was wonderful. But Miles used to cycle with him. We used to go out and party a little bit. And he's taken to swimming. So we talked a lot about the swimming. And he's on at me. He was like, oh, do you want to go swimming? Have you been swimming today? So I've got that little extra motivator, that someone who's picked up that, we've got that common ground again. And he's going, oh, are you going swimming? Shall we catch up? So I love that too. Thanks, bro, for the little extra motivation. I think it's super cool. I'm loving it. Jumped in the pool today. Couldn't wait. Just did 60 lengths today. That was my mission. Whipped it out. Felt amazing. Felt amazing. And again, no watch. Forgot about the time. It was more about the doing, getting in and getting it done. Jumped in, got out, shout up, back to work. back to the grind. And boom, no excuses, no mucking around. Could I have flagged it? Yep. But who was I accountable to? Ultimately me, but old mate, Miles, I could hear him going, and he messaged me too saying, did you get that swim done today? I'm like, yes, I did.
Legend.
Yes, I did, mate. Yes, I did. So how good? I feel good to say, yeah, I'm going to do it, but then someone holding me accountable for it.
Yeah.
So share your passion, share your goals. So if there are people asking you about it, holding you accountable for it, sometimes that's that little kick when the motivation is waning a bit.
Yeah.
I said I was going to do it.
Mate, I did the same thing today just here because I had another busy day working and getting things organized. And then obviously we have to do this. And I'm like, look, I need a sweat. I need to get my heart moving, my blood flowing. I need to get a little bit of sweat. I've got 20 minutes. So I didn't just go. So we're obviously, where I am at the moment, there's some access to some equipment and also a legend of a man to join me on the party. So I got out my notebook and we wrote down a game plan. I was like, okay, we've got 20 minutes. This is the deal. We're going to do 5 movements, 4 rounds through. Here we go. Bike sprint, kettlebell swings, and just lift it out. Stand tall, 3, 2, 1, go, boom. And the timer starts and we just do reps. Before you know it, 20 minutes, obviously, you do 4 rounds of these exercises. It's over in no time. You're sweating. The chatter's getting faster, the end of that workout, all of a sudden, like, and I knew that, but it was, again, could have easily been missed. Where it's like, oh, maybe I'll do something after the podcast or maybe, because today's technically like my easy day anyway, because it's Thursday, which is how I schedule my week out, but I still want to move and groove and do something. And mate, how good, when 20 minutes, set your intention. I'm going to 20 minutes to move and you get it done. And holy shit, how good's that?
Do something. And if that's a walk for you,
yes,
that's 5 minutes skipping, if that's 10 push-ups a night, if it's something, do it. Just get it done. Whatever it is, you will feel so good afterwards. But it's also not just that one moment. It's what happens, those little moments that happen after that. That discipline. And I've got your training buddy today, mate. I've got visions of him with his arms in the freezer.
Mate, he did. He was awesome.
Little animal.
Just on what you were saying, when like a walk could be for you. I think I've discussed this in the past, but I think it's a really important lesson and I talk about it with my online clients as well. Sit down and determine what in your life you can put towards being a workout. Like actually give it a label. Say like a 20-minute walk with my son, workout. Because we always think it's going to the gym. And for a lot of people, so yesterday, the guy I'm talking about, one of my new clients, well, I've coached him in the past and he's back on the game again. He runs a sharing business. So he got to, I think yesterday was his first session. He finally got done at the gym because Monday and Tuesday, the guy was sharing for 4.5 to 5 hours. Now, if you don't know what sharing is about, how physical that is, mate, like that's more than your 20, 40-minute workout in the gym. You are hammering it. So I said to him, mate, don't worry. This week, those days, your wins for those days is just sharing. You don't kill yourself to get that done and then go to the gym when you get home, sacrifice more time away from the family. You're already exhausted just so you can get a workout done and feel that success, which is cool if you can. But hey, remember, sharing for 5 hours, a walk with my kids, a jog, some swimming, whatever it is, put it in your list. What do I believe I can class as a workout? Some of them are more intense, some of them are not intense. Today was about like 75 to 80% effort for me. Yesterday, I did something that was easily 95%. And then it varies. But make sure you set yourself up to win. Did I work out today? Yes. What did I do? What did you do? I went for a jog while my daughter rode her push bike for 3K or whatever it was, 20 minutes. Who cares? Did you win? Hell yeah, I won. It's so simple, but we don't do that. We're so caught up on, I didn't go to the gym today. I messed up. Mate, no, you didn't. It's really key. It's really important.
Yeah, I think when we step out the door, a lot of the demands are external. All of these things, the work, the boss, do more, sell more, all the external influences, buy more, get more, spend more. You need to earn more, you need to be more, you need to do more, you need to wear this. All of that stuff grinds you down. So when you get an opportunity to do a hard reset and you get your own time, that is not tuning out, that is actually tuning in. That is the fine tuning, the process where, and my mate Bat will know, he's been in 14 days of isolation, how precious that alone time can be. Now, I'm not saying lock yourself in a hotel room for 14 days, but if you can just take half an hour just to reset by yourself, whether it's a walk, whatever it is, and that's you time, 100% focus, and you can start to figure out some of those internal motivators, some of those dreams, a little bit of a thought process, unlocking some of the things that may have held you back in the day. But remember, that is you, and that'll influence how you attack everything else when you go out the doors, because it's a battleground out there. It's a brutal, it's a hard world.
Yeah, mate. I just want to talk to you about something real quick. So this is a really interesting topic. I don't know if we've talked about this yet, but I heard, people I know, and there's someone who's in a new relationship, and she has a kid, and the daughter was like, I don't want you to be in this new relationship, for example. And she goes, can you stop getting in the way of my happiness? And we've all heard that kind of a comment before, or we've understand, like when someone's maybe in the way or whatever, right? Well, anyway, it broke my heart a little bit, of course, because she's this young girl whose mother said that. And that's what you were talking about, being alone. It's like, well, number one, if you're not happy before this relationship starts with yourself, then how are you expecting this person to now bring you that happiness? Like, that's that whole slow down approach. Slow things down,
right.
Work on yourself. Like, take 2 weeks in a cave, or like you said, or 30 minutes a day, but get so comfortable with yourself. And that's another thing of the older, wiser of myself that I would love to say to young Cody is, mate, like, the reason you're chasing all this and trying to get out and party all the time and never be alone and always be somewhere is because you're too afraid to be with yourself. You're not in love with yourself yet. You're not there. You're filling the void of, there's some kind of void or weirdness that you haven't addressed or figured out, and you're just dumping things in it that hopefully fill it up. But again, age and experience is one of those things that can open it and fill it with the right things. But yeah, it's like, hold on, just slow down. Don't expect anything else to make you happy. You've got to find it within yourself and to really figure that out before you start bringing these external things to make you happy. These parties and relationships and mate. But I'm sure, So just an interesting observation. Things.
And things, liken it to things. So you go and purchase the latest pair of Nikes and you think they're the greatest thing on earth, and then next week they bring out another one and suddenly you're like, oh shit, okay. And this thing that you're saying, oh, I'm going to feel good about it now, all of a sudden, that's the way it works. We're getting conditioned, we're getting hammered. Oh no, well done for purchasing that, but you know what, there's something else that you need to chase. Get fucked. The same thing, with looking for all of these external influences to make you truly happy. Just sit, spend the time with yourself. Like we say, remember, you are energy, you are light, you are power, you are love, you are all the things that are beautiful about this world. You've got to really sit down and try and break that down and figure out what it means. Because some people get in situations where they know they're going to be hurt because they think that is all they deserve. That's not correct. No one deserves that shit. If you're in a relationship where people are saying, hey, if they're treating you bad and they're making you feel like that, check. It's up to you. It's fucking hard to do. I see a lot of it. And it's okay just to sit down, spend time with yourself and figure out, am I okay? Is this for me? And if it's not, you can change it. Like I say, it takes a village sometimes. If you feel as though this responsibility is all you, it's not. There are people that can support you through it, who can listen, so you can talk and have that deeper, meaningful conversation. Okay, because that's what it's about too, getting this information out, finding more about yourself, getting someone who is wise. And a lot of that, if we circle back, is the older generation. Do we listen to our parents? No, we probably don't. There's a lot of things, and you find yourself in situations when you're talking to your kids going, shit, I sound like my mum, or I got that from my dad. You take for granted the things that you have been learned. And as I've said before, I know my kids, we don't give ourselves enough credit for the position our children are in, and that can work both ways. You know, some upbringings can be traumatic and others can be amazing. There's some stunning parents out there doing some amazing things, you know, spending time with their kids, and that's the most important thing, time. The one thing you'll never get back and the one thing you'll always want more of is time.
Yeah.
So make the time to do that type of stuff. But the wisdom you can gather, the way things were done, the way we built ourselves, the way this city was built, these cities were built, the way this country was built, the morals, the standards, we need to be aware of history, or else we run the danger of repeating it, right? If you've got, and I think we've delved into this before, but, you know, if you've got a history of violence, it's in some of the reading, if you've got a history of abuse, as difficult as it is, it needs to stop with you, because you can't perpetuate it. You can't keep stuff like that in motion in the universe, because it's not yours to carry, and it's definitely not yours to pass on. It was from a different age, from a different person, and again, it's that weight that you feel as though you need to carry, but what you need to do is drop it, learn from it, and make sure you don't make that same mistake and perpetuate that legacy. What is your legacy? What do you want to bring into the world? What are you offering? What do you have to offer? Do you know? And if you're not sure, right, if you don't actually, you can't sit down and list 5 things that are great about you. Can you do it? Can you actually do it? Can you sit down and write, okay, what are 5 things? I challenge you to do it. It's hard. Why? Because we're conditioned not to write great things about ourselves. Society wants to keep us down, to be the drones, to be the worker bees.
Yeah.
Did this before. They don't want us to excel. You know, they want us to continue to consume, to grind, to spend, to stay where we are, to not make much noise, to power the world through our effort, to make the rich richer. And unfortunately, there's a massive price to pay. And now it's the environment, and it's people, and it's civilization, and it's society, and it's got to fucking stop. And that's what we're trying to do,
Mate, I think that whole practice, that's part of that journaling thing that we talk about, the whole morning journaling thing. You can have different parts of it, and what that would be an amazingly powerful practice, is to write those 5 things about yourself, like what, and that's what affirmations are, right? You go down, you write, I am ... and then you fill out that void. You write them down, 3-4 things, and you say it, and you say it in the affirmative. You say it in something that perhaps you haven't quite achieved yet, but that's where you're going. You know, you are a co-host of a worldwide famous podcast called the D.M.C. and but you have all these ways that, you're charismatic and you're positive and move with purpose and all these different things, but you write them every day. You remember, the more we read, the more we take in, the more we say, the more we will become. And we can control that, but you've got to be real careful, because if you don't control it, then someone else or the environment around you will, and all of a sudden, I'm a loser. I haven't done anything. I've achieved nothing. You hang around with people that are like fueling that, and before you know it, you're in a deep hole, as opposed to being in control of all this. So take control.
Yeah, bro. And that exercise, if you have trouble doing it, maybe go 3. And even if you have trouble with that, saying, what am I great? And it is difficult to say, actually, I'm fucking good at this, and I'm great with this, and I am a positive person. Plus, win. Who is the most trusted person in your life? The person that you turn to when times get tough. You'll go to, ask them to write down 3 or 5 things that are great about you, and repay the favor. And you'll be surprised what they write. It may surprise you. It may not, depending on your mindset or your mentality. If you truly know yourself, know where your strengths are. You could move past it and say, hey, what do you think? 3 things that I could improve on.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, that's right. I've heard that one done before. Yeah.
But nail the good stuff before we get into the cons. Think about the pros, the reinforcement of those, and look at it and read it, And then once you get it from someone else, write that shit down yourself, repeat it, and look at it and remind yourself, hey, someone sees value in me here. I really didn't even consider that that's what someone thought of me. How great.
Yeah, it's awesome,
and
mate.
the value goes up. The estimation of the value, the coins, the kindness coins go up. Your self-esteem increases. You walk a little taller, you feel a little better, you gain a little bit of confidence. It's that reassurance that you're on the right path. We all have shit to work on, but we also, as we've talked about before, have things that are wonderfully unique about us and that we can share with the world and people around us appreciate. So please, team, 5 things maximum, 3 minimum, write them down. Great things about you. Great things about you. And the challenge, pass it on to someone else.
Yeah.
Relay it.
I was just going to say I used to use that exercise, not so much well, I was saying before, finding people that you admire or you'd like to talk to, because I think I mentioned it before, if the people that you ask for help with, or let's just say you pick 5 people, let's go as far as saying, okay, there's 5 people that I know, I want to buy them a coffee and pick their brain about anything that we discuss. You know, it could be like a mentor or someone you'd like to be your mentor, whatever it is. Those 5 people, they want to help you. It doesn't, and most of the time, it doesn't matter how high up they are either. You might think, oh no, that's the CEO of a company. God, will he really want to have a coffee with me? Like, they're too busy. Mate, I'm sure, of course, there'll be some that won't be able to. But the majority, everyone wants to help in some way. People love talking. People love sharing their knowledge, their skills, their lessons, their mistakes. I spent about 2 years of doing this over in Korea, where I just booked coffees with all sorts of people. And mate, the power of that, holy shit, it was so awesome. And then again, like you said before, you actually get confident in it. You get proud. You're like, look, I have no fear of calling up that guy and saying, hey, mate, I know you're busy. I would love to take you for a coffee sometime. I'd just love to have a chat about your business and everything you do, because I'm really interested in it. Do you have 25 minutes to do so?
Lighting malfunction, sorry.
The old lighting guy just fell asleep, mate.
We're live.
But how good is that? And you've got access to all these people. And of course, these days we even have access remotely. Even if it's someone you can't buy a coffee with, sure, they might have 5 minutes for a Zoom call with you. But if you do that, make sure you don't just show up and sit there and be like, prepare some questions, prepare some topics to talk about. Just be intrigued. Just don't be stressed about it. But I found real value in that, and I feel like it improved my confidence, my relationships, my skills, and opportunities opened because of that. You know, just from that practice.
We were actually talking to one of the members of the class. There was a couple of us chatting, and she was going for a job interview, and she was asking about questions to ask, you know, outside of the normal. And I said, well, one great thing to gauge the environment that you're working in is the question that she should ask is, what do you love about working here?
How good.
You know, what do you love about working here? And what are they going to say? The coffee machine is excellent. The standard of photocopiers, the ink is always at 95%. That's what I like. The pens, there's always pens around here. And we use recycled paper. You know, what you want is passion. You want confidence that the people are amazing. One word you want to hear, culture. The culture of this place is on fire. The people look after each other. We are kind. We are caring. That's what you want to hear. So again, it's people want to help. You got to help yourself. And looking at the younger generation, the greatest gift, we talk about time. You can give your kids time, obviously, but confidence, and teach them kindness. Confidence, get your kids confident. To be themselves. I love, you know, as when they're young, you think about these little kids running around, charging, running into stuff, knocking it over, testing boundaries. And as we all know, it was in one of the books that we talk about, when kids start to play adults, they lose their smile. And they're serious all of a sudden, because that's what adults are like. We're serious. Not here, but outside, adults are predominantly presumed to be serious, and they lose a lot due to the environment. They lose confidence. Again, you know, it's a scary world out there. So let them know it's okay to be different if they are different. Let them know it's okay to be positive in a world that's predominantly negative. They're going to face challenges where people will gang up on them, and that's just nature. Bullying is out there everywhere. It's from every age and getting earlier. The accessibility, we're forgetting how to talk, but it's all about isolation, isn't it?
mate.
But give them the skills to compete.
Yeah, that's right. I was just going to say one of those songs. It was a Cat Stevens songs. You know, Cat Stevens.
Yeah.
Legend. And one of his songs, and I remember as a teenager hearing the lyrics to the song, and it was from the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. And I was just like, the impact on that, especially when kids came along, and I was like, oh my God, like we're encouraging our young children to learn to speak and learn all this knowledge and get all this stuff. And then all of a sudden they know it and they want to talk and share. And we're like, hold on, no, I'm too busy for that. Can you stop talking, or just be quiet for 5 minutes, would you? I'm trying to watch the news. You know, Holmes is on, Holmes back in the day. But it's just like, how funny. And that lyric, so that's a song that I like to play on guitar with when my son is around me, because obviously it's called Father and Son, right? Is it that song? I think that's what it's called, eh? There's a lot of cool songs. But anyway, all the lyrics.
Look at me, I am old, but I'm happy.
Yeah. Mate, well, the lyrics of that entire song, like, bring a tear to your eyes, mate. And when you sing it and you're just sitting there like playing away, there's so many gold nuggets in just that song. And so that's one of them that's made real impact. And I think, just like you're saying, we try to build up the confidence in their knowledge. And then as soon as they get to a point where they want to share it, we're like, no, we don't want that anymore. We want you to be quiet and be controlled and be in a box and act like an adult and be angry and sad and whatever. But, mate,
I've just so I finished Ant Middleton's book about positivity. And he was actually very good. We talk about juggling all the time, and what he would do, he would come back from these incredibly scary missions, being in the military, and then as soon as he walked through the door, he was 100%, 1000% father, and nothing else mattered. So he wouldn't let work get in the way. He was dedicated to the place he was at and the people that were in it. And I thought, that's the way that we should live our lives. That's give your management credit, give your company credit. And if the expectation is that, hey, why aren't you available at 10 o'clock at night? Just reassess. There are times that you need to work, and we know, the flexibility of our roles means that we cover a whole range of stuff. We get to do a little bit of both. I think I've talked about it before. The one thing I loved about my role was my ability to be there for the sports days, and I missed a couple. I did, but the majority of my commitment was to be there and seeing my kids. My daughter win a cross country one was just a stunning memory. To see one of my daughters competing in a cross country was another. The thing I remember most about my kids as they were younger, and this typifies them today, and something I am super proud of them both for, is that what they both used to do is they were called house captains. So they divide the classes into groups, and they've got colours, and they compete in sports days. Both of them were house captains, and what they used to do, and led the charge by my oldest daughter, she used to walk around the schoolyard and find kids that were sitting by themselves and just check in with them, make sure they're okay, and see if they needed help. Both the kids would do that. And they check in with their friends. They're 100% committed to other people today. Super, super kind, beautiful humans, great hearts. And I couldn't be prouder of that part of their lives. And if that's part of me, if that's part of their mother that we've passed on. Sure, we had challenging times, days when it just all seemed too much as a parent, when we might have raised our voice or our hand at times, a long time ago, and we might have got grumpy, let life get in the way. But predominantly I was thinking, and sparked on by the, our latest read, Lost Connections. We think about anxiety, and you go deep, you look at yourself and go, God, what sort of parent was I? What sort of person was I? How did I impact the environment around me and the people around me? Was it in a positive manner? Was I doing things way, many years ago that could have altered them for the negative? And I don't think that's the case. I'm pretty positive that's not the case with me. But to see my kids actually displaying kindness, and that beautiful next level of human connection, it just, man, I just that will stay with me forever, as it stays with them. That's just part of who they are. Empathy, and empathy's hard because you take on other people's stuff, right? You feel it. I'm the same. It may be part of our heritage, we're receptive on an emotional wavelength to that type of thing. There's channels that work in the universe. Maybe we're in tune to that. And you do absorb a lot. You literally feel people's pain. And I know that if I sense someone needs help, I will gravitate towards them. It's strange, but it's necessary. And I do that a lot. I'm compelled to do it. It's way deeper than anything I can explain, but I know that I need to be there and help. And that's one thing that Ant Middleton said, and I'll repeat it. I thought it was awesome as a parent and as a human, and especially as a coach, as we look at mindfulness and we look at health, and we look at humanity and we look at being kind. And this is for you, Cody, as well, bro. Our aim is to be the compass, not the map. We're not going to tell you how to live your lives, right? We're not going to set a plan in place. That is for you to decide. But what we do hope to do is give you some direction and show you the benefits of being positive and living a positive life and surrounding yourself with positive things. So that's 100% one thing that stuck with me, the compass, not the map, because you can go forth and say, to be successful, you must do this. Okay, we want to head you in a direction where we give you a number of tools. And again, talk about nuggets. People will navigate through the conversation and say, oh, that's not for me, but wait, give it time. Listen, continue to listen. And if this is the moment where you say, I need to be the compass. I'm trying to tell people how to live their lives, but I need to be a leader in a different way. I need to give the great example, not just set it in stone and say, you must do this. Everybody has their own mountain, their own pathway to follow. You must do it for yourself. But I really, really love that, the way he said that about a parent, be the compass, not the map.
Mate, on that too, I was with my D.M.Cs I was having last night with our mate, we're actually talking about when you do hear those nuggets, just going back to nuggets with whether it's the podcast here or audio books and things like that, I urge, seriously, get a notebook and write them down. Because that was our conversation last night. It's so easy to have all these things. You might have 2 or 3 things that you remember real clear, but then in an entire book, an entire 10 to 12 hour reading, you may forget all the good stuff. And it could be a bullet point. I have a notebook with me all day anyway, because that's how I do my daily missions and my journaling and whatnot. But get it out there, or even on your phone, just even type it out. But I think how good it'd be just about to summarize and be like, look, out of the podcast today, there were 3 things that I really enjoyed, and I want to work more on it, or I want to learn more about it, or I want to instill that practice into my day-to-day life. But because before you know it, you've gone, like we said before with the ideas for content, 3 hours have gone by and you forgot absolutely everything that you thought about. And it may come back if you're lucky, but again, hey, that's a bit of a risk. Why not just lock it in so you can go back to that?
Yeah, and we could say, hey, let's write down the nuggets, but that's kind of not the point.
Yeah.
The nuggets are for you to discover. The nuggets are for you to find, and it's got to resonate with you. We could write down a couple of nuggets, defining situations, or that will have impact, but it might not actually be applicable to you. Yeah. So the wavelength that we work on will go up and down, and then you'll find the frequency and you're like, that's it, I've got it. That's me. I'm in. I'll do it. We already know, we're telling you all the time, you're way more powerful than you think. You've got this amazing energy and light that needs to be shared in a positive way. It's tough. We're not saying it's going to happen overnight, but it's a work in progress for us all. The whole thing about the construction site, we're the biggest construction site. Sometimes we can feel like we're in ruins, but what is the legacy, the construction? What are you going to share, or what will you have the ability to share? What will your legacy be? This will be part of our legacy, right? This will be part of our legacy. But my aim is to be the best possible version of myself and to share as much kindness and wealth of time and knowledge as I can to try and help the people around me live better lives, live happier lives, to forget about the bullshit. We've all, we're, like I say, when we get to our age, mate, we've spent money, we've won money, we've lost money, we've been in love, we've had our hearts broken, we've broken hearts. We've been through emotional roller coasters. We've been through the failure thing. We have failed. We've experienced death. We've done all that. That gets us to this place. That's why we can talk about it. That's why we can be open, honest. with you. It's something we are compelled to do. We want to do. We want to share it with you and show you that there is value, but also no matter what the challenge, to talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. You just got to keep pushing and surround yourself with people like us that believe in you. We believe in you. We believe in your power. We believe you're strong. And we believe in ourselves, right? Ultimately, we're going to have bad days. We're going to have off days. But, bro, Hundy, mate, we are there for each other. Pumped every week, daily, there for a week. And Cody knows this, mate. If he was in the shit and needed me, I would be there.
Yeah.
You know, despite, you know, obviously there are things in the way would make it work, but I would be there. That's my commitment to him as a person, one to one. You know, my commitment to look after him on a deeper level. And it looks like we could be helping you move some boxes, mate, soon. Anyway.
We'll see, mate.
The heavy lifting. Can I just hang the pictures, maybe straighten the pictures and do the floor arrangements?
Speaking of pictures, we've only just started getting them, mate. Like the life of an expat overseas, mate. There's nothing on the walls. You've got to move every 3 years or so, and you're like, yeah, mate. So you're right. We're finally getting photos in our home. It's a weird vibe, that you don't have them. It'll
be a nice moment when you can finally just, you know, put your feet up and say, yeah, this is it.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
This is it for us.
Big time. Weird, eh? Because you get used to the moving. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, one. Well, I thought it was cool. Little piece of motivation, and it came to me in a blinding flash of rain. It came to me during a shower, and the sensation, because we talk about the books that we're reading and the sensations that we're feeling, the 4 agreements and the 5th agreement, you know, about how our willingness to the will that moves the hands. And you can be out and about and it can rain. And as humans, we are conditioned to shelter from adversity, right? And it's as simple as, if it starts raining, what do? We run for cover. And it's the same with when we face adversity in our lives. But that one moment where you step out of the shelter and you experience the rain on your hands and your body, and you realize how amazing it is to actually bathe in adversity and how good it feels to be alive in that moment. And so I shared that because it was on the way to a class, you know, and I said, for me, you know, I want to be the kind of person that dances in the rain, you know, singing and dancing in the rain. It's that old classic. But if you haven't tried it, don't pump up the umbrella. We'll break this down as we did. Worst case scenario, you'll get wet. Holy shit. Technology will look after you. You'll have a spare pair of clothes. There'll be a towel, there'll be a dryer, whatever. But have you ever stepped out into and bathed in the glory that is adversity? And how good do you feel afterwards? It's those little challenges that are sent. So don't shelter yourself from adversity. Be the person that dances in the rain.
Mate, I'm going to tell you a story about that, because that is so good and so true. We had, of all the years I've coached outdoor programming, so for a while there in Korea, I actually didn't have I didn't coach out of a gym at all. I coached outdoors for everything. And I'd run a weekend group, and you get the odd message, hey, it's raining. Are we working out today? And I'm like, mate, there's a no cancellation policy. You cannot get out of this agreement. We do not stop training because of rain. Number one, we're extremely waterproof. You can handle the water, right? It's quite important. But then you'd see one of those days, right? We had one workout, and it stuck in my memory because it was just the most coolest day. And it wasn't raining, and I had all these car tires up on this mountain, this Namsan Tower, Namsan mountain that's in Seoul. And so I got these tires laid out. Everyone arrives. It's a cloudy morning, right? Like, you know it's going to rain. But everyone arrives because, as you know, if it's already raining, people stay in bed with the blankets. It's hard to get out of bed, but it hadn't started yet, right? So everyone came. We team up and we go up this mountain and do this 1 hour and a half session. People are carrying tires and each other and sweating, and then the rain comes. And if you've been involved before in areas that have monsoon rain, where it goes like floods almost instantly in buckets, it just goes such heavy rain. It rained so hard for the next hour. But I'll tell you what, by the time we got back to base camp, everyone was doing push-ups and burpees in the puddles. They were like, you've never seen energy like it. It was like we'd just done some crazy ritual and people just didn't want to go home. They were so amped up. The feeling of what they're up to. Number one, the adversity of that workout, poor conditions, slippery, muddy, wet and cold, mate, so good. And I there's photos of it on Facebook all over from that session where I couldn't get people to go home. People just wouldn't leave. It's like, we got to get out of here. It's like, I mean, it can be a lightning storm over there, can kill you. So that's something to be aware of. But it was
don't run around with a golf club.
Yeah. No umbrellas, team. That's like no umbrellas. But yeah, it was exactly right. And it's like, look, give yourself the opportunity. And Goggins talks about it too. He's like, if he's sitting at home and he needs to go for a run, as soon as the rain starts, that's when it's time to go. Can I make this harder? Yep. Hell yeah. Now it's raining. Yep. Let's go.
Do something hard. He's big on the discipline over motivation, listening to him. He uses the F word more than I do. But the adopt the 1% mentality, obviously when it suits you, and pretty soon that starts to roll. You get momentum on that mentality. You build resilience in your mindset, and go out. Next time it rains, just go out and hold your hands out. The back of the hands is a great thing. You'll feel the rain hit your hands and the nerve endings and the sensation, and just open yourself up to the prospect is, you'll get wet. You're not gonna drown yourself in the rain looking up, right? Just stand there for a moment and just feel what it is.
Yeah.
Previously, you would have run, sheltered from adversity, but not today.
And when did that change though? Because when we were kids, and kids love the rain, mate. You can't get them out of the rain. They're out there naked in the back lawn. We've all done that before as little kids, I'm sure. But it's like the rain was the coolest thing ever, wasn't it? It was like, let's go. And then at some point, now we're afraid of the rain, or we get told we're gonna get sick and whatever. But hey, bro, before we finish up today, I wanted to ask everybody. So we've discussed a little bit about bringing a guest on for episode 10, haven't we? We've sort of talked about that idea a little bit. I'd be really interested, actually, we haven't gone with it, but I'd be interested to hear some feedback if there's any sort of types of people would be interested to get on the show, or any recommendations of someone, or because again, we haven't done it yet. We'll be 8 in. We haven't had that third little person on the screen having some deep yarn. So what do you reckon, mate?
I think that's a great idea. It's something. So what we've been about is building a library. So when we ask someone if they can join us and talk about a specific subject, a struggle or a mindset experience, that they get who we are and what we're trying to achieve, rather than them looking on YouTube and not being able to find us, or listening on Spotify and not being able to find us. They can go through some content, go through the titles, and see what we're about. So yeah, guess 100%. If you think of anybody, and we know some stunning people in our lives that we will reach out to 100%. We do plan to go live too. That's a
baby.
We want to go live and have the feedback rolling, so we can have a chat. Maybe the Friday drinkies would be a good
glass of red,
a little dram, I might have to have maybe soda water or something, so I don't get too rowdy. But it is 100% on our list of things to do, to start inviting people here to share what they have to offer, because there are some stunning examples in this beautiful country and globally, because we can reach out across the world, and if people are kind enough to want to share, and it's amazing what people will do when you ask them for help.
Amazing.
Again, we are connected. If health and well-being is your thing, then I hope you're welcoming us to the community as we welcome others. If someone said to me, look, I'm really interested, I think I should do a podcast, we are like, go for it. Because if you have an audience that you can reach, and you think you have a message and you have something that you want to share, go for it. If you want to lean on us and have subjects that you want us to talk about, you want us to take that mantle and start to talk about things, then 100% lean on us. We will happily do that. One thing too, if there are books that you have read or you'd like to read, or if you've heard that are amazing, both Cody and I are actually challenging ourselves in a different way, because we talked about it, bro, where we go for the positivity, the hype, the books that are all about, the winners. But
mm.
we're really deep diving into some dark stuff, as you'll see the mood and the variety of the discussion points, the depth of the discussions that we have is changing. We're really starting to absorb ourselves and challenge ourselves in some super interesting material, and I have loved it. The experience of listening to it started with, the 4 agreements, and obviously the journey that put us on in terms of mindset. I've offered that to a couple of friends and some other books, because it may not necessarily be for you, but I guarantee at some stage in your life you'll turn to that and read it. Cody and I will check in it. I've done it before. I've done it too since we've talked, bro. Rechecked in with chapters.
Oh yeah, big time.
Just to reaffirm some of the learnings, and especially with the 5th agreement as well.
I've got that downloaded just yesterday, mate. So that's my next one.
Yeah, there's some
lost connections.
There's some heavy stuff. There's a lot of stuff that people go through in it, and you read through it, and you're like, holy shit! And what do you feel? Gratitude for the life you lead. And there may be, there may be comparison with you and your life in that situation. The latest one, is about depression and anxiety, and it is deep, way deeper than I thought, in a direction that I didn't really think it would go. But I'm loving it. I'm loving listening to this guy and the way that it's unfolding, supported by science. And as humans, we've got a lot to answer for the behavior, but ultimately we are the population, we are the people. Together we can overcome any challenge. Bro, and always grateful for the opportunity to sit down and chat with all of you. So thank you again so much for your support, for the feedback. Hit us up anytime, anywhere. We have the channels. Look for the D.M.C dailies, subscribe, fire it to your friends if you can. Bro, we're nearly up, I think, to 1,000 views on YouTube, nearly passing the 1,000 views, which is super cool. But it's not awesome. It's not about how many people view it. As Cody was saying before, it's the fact that we are doing it is the win. As I said, the fact I was talking about, a friend of mine, Miles, he was saying, the fear of failure when he's going into these events. The win is getting to the start line, doing something that he loves, that he's passionate about, having his family love and support him. The win is in the doing.
Yeah, that's right.
The win is in the doing. So go out and do it. Go get it this week. Set the world on fire.
Do it.
That undeniable life force that is you.
Yeah, baby. Mate, with that's our time to leave, mate, because that's bloody beautiful. All right, team. Again, like Adam said, just want to reiterate, thank you all for being here, support, for everything. We appreciate it. We love it. We'll be back. We'll be back. Please, enjoy the podcast, and we'll see you all again. Well, every day, but we'll see you back on the podcast next week.
Listen, like, subscribe, and if you're going through something, look to the library, see what resonates with you, pick the one that you think can help you, and listen to it. We love you. Thank you so much. Peace and love.
Peace.